Oh, no.
Good evening and welcome to the Cottonwood Heights City Council Business Meeting for Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. My name is Mike Wickers. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood Heights. I've asked Councilmember Ellen Burrell to get us started by leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Councilmember Burrell. Item number 3 on our agenda this evening. Once a month, the City Council has the opportunity to share some of the things that they've been working on with some of the committees they work with, and then some of the initiatives that they might have. And so we'll start this evening with Council District 1, Councilmember Matt Holton.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all as always. So we had a presentation earlier today from Pam, who's with Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling. She does a fantastic job. She is in charge of our trash recycling, pickup, I guess, glass and other things as well, and green waste. Did a little report of what's going on. As you all know, we're doing the having the bins go around to people's homes for spring cleanup. This week, she also mentioned is what did she call it? Trash People Appreciation Week or something. But she mentioned maybe chuck out a Gatorade to the person that comes by and picks up your trash. Don't actually throw it at them. Maybe place it kindly with a note. But do something to say thank you to the folks that come by and pick up our trash. I think that's one of those things that if you hear people complaining about trash, we're not doing our job. If things are going okay in that area, we're doing all right. Another thing that I wanted to mention that's kind of a little outside of our purview, but if you've ever lost your passport, right? I'm going on my honeymoon. I lost my passport, believe it or not. So I had to fly to Boston to get a passport where you can get it within a couple hours. It's this completely chaotic experience. But great news is Salt Lake City was just named by the federal government of getting a passport office, which is kind of a big deal. There's some statistics that this last year they did 24 million passports. So when you're complaining about wait times, that's why 24 million passports. So it'll be nice to have that resource here, just a couple minutes away, where we'll be able to go get a passport replacement, which will be nice. And that's all I've got today.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton. From Council District 2, Councilmember Suzanne Highland.
Well, good evening, everyone. I just would like to say the most important task that is before our council right now is hiring a city manager. And in that note, I want to thank Tim Tingy for his professionalism and his service to the city. He will be moving on. His last day is Friday. I'm, of course, a new council member, and he met with me while I was running, and then he gave me all the tools and training to be very effective. And I just really appreciate what he's done for our city and what he's done for me personally. So thank you. Thank you for your service. I'm on the events committee CH2, and Butlerfield Days is in full swing and planning, and they're talking about garbage can placement and barricade placement and things that you don't even think about in an event. And of course, all of the things that will come with the Butlerville Days, the carnival, the live entertainment, the fireworks, the drone show, the car show, and of course, the mayor's pickleball tournament, which is going to be open for registration July 16th. And that, well, the registration is now open, and that tournament will be July 16th through the 26th. Also, just in time for the 100-degree heat, the ice rink is opening back up on July 8th. So if you wanted to take advantage of that. Also met with emergency management. I just want to make everybody aware that because the last 2 years have had so much water, we have a lot of growth. And I've noticed that even in my own yard, but think about what's happened up in the foothills here, where there's just been a lot of new growth. And when all of that dries out, and we're going to be 100 degrees in the next couple days, that's just going to be tinder for fires. And so we have not increased the restrictive areas this year for fireworks, but please just be aware of what you're doing and how it might impact all this dry underbrush that has emerged because of the last 2 years of plentiful water. Last, I want to just invite you to come and see the Cottonwood Heights Amateur Radio Club nationwide competition, which is this weekend from Saturday noon to Sunday noon. And the public is invited to stop by in the community room. And really, this will be our lifeline in an emergency. If our cell phones don't work, the only way that we're going to be able to communicate is by ham radio. And so we have this amazing amateur club here in our city that usually wins this national competition. So feel free to stop by Saturday noon to Sunday noon and see what that's all about. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Highland. I saw Chief Pilgrim nodding his head and saying amen. Is that right? From Council District 3, Councilmember Sean Newell.
Good evening, everyone. Summertime is kind of quiet on some of these committees, but they're still staying pretty active in preparation for the upcoming fall. One of the committees that I sit on is the Canyon School Foundation. And right now, the foundation is helping solicit young people to join the peer court. I don't know if everyone's aware of what peer court is, but it's actually students that actually get to adjudicate cases that are happening on their campuses. One of the great things about this program also is that these kids that volunteer for this program receive school credit. They either do 32 hours or 72 hours of service done on Wednesday nights. It's a phenomenal program. Last year, I was able to bring one of our Supreme Court justices in to talk to them and give them some insights. And they're going to be touring the Supreme Court here, hopefully this next coming up fall. I'm also serving on the Arts Council. And for those of you that aren't aware, our Arts Council is second to none. We're putting on the Beauty and the Beast play coming up in July. I just hope everybody takes an opportunity. Councilman Holden made me say I'm going on opening night, so I'm going on opening night. That'll
He's
be my date
singing.
night.
He'll be singing.
No, no, no. That's my cheap
Singing.
date night with my wife. So I've already told her we're going. Another board that I sit on is our South Valley Chamber Board. And to date, Cottonwood Heights has 38 businesses that have joined the South Valley Chamber. This is a great opportunity for our businesses here in our city to be able to network, to be able to gain additional resources for their business, and to be able to grow as a business, and to be able to bring that growth back here and help us as a community to solidify some of our economic parameters. The other thing that we have on the Arts Council is an opportunity for you to help with this Beauty and the Beast play if you'd be interested in volunteering to paint. I know painting is everybody's favorite thing to do, but we need a few volunteers to come out and paint sets. And it's a great way to invite family members. They want the younger people to be about 12 and above, but it's a great opportunity to get out and interact with some more of your fellow residents and to learn more about what the Arts Council is doing and to see some very talented people practicing while you're doing those things. That is my report, except for, I have to say this as well. I appreciate my friend Tim. We've become really good friends over the last couple of years. The influence and mentoring that he's given me has been phenomenal. I appreciate you to no end. We will continue our relationship and continue to have some fun on the side. But you have been an inspiration to me and have helped me along the way to grow as an individual. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilmember Newell. From Council District 4, Councilmember Ellen Burrell.
Well, why don't I also make my acknowledgement of Tim Tingy? And I said to him earlier today that a way to really know a true compliment is when it comes to you third hand. And I will say in the 2.5 years I've served Cottonwood Heights, and I have been out and about in the community in Salt Lake County or at the ULCT statewide conferences, I can hardly say, get Cottonwood Heights, that word out of my mouth. And that person who's a stranger to me will say, oh, Tim Tingy. Oh, I know Tim Tingy. I think really highly of him. They'll often say he's a friend. And I think that does speak volumes about our city manager who has been so dedicated these last 6.5 years. So thank you, Tim. There's a number of things that have occurred for me over the last month, and so I will rattle through this rather quickly. I am absolutely thrilled with the new Youth City Council mayor. Her name is Marianne Jensen. She is a bright, talented, I believe she's a sophomore or junior at Brighton High School. Right now, she's traveling with her mother in Iowa, making our city and our state proud by being selected out of the state to give an auditory performance in Iowa. And I've invited her with the support of the council to come to our first August meeting. And I look forward to introducing her to you. I also traveled twice to Southern California in the month of May to audit a program that is done through the Newport Beach Foundation. It is called their Distinguished Citizen Program. And with cohorts of 30 people, they have the opportunity to be trained in exactly what their government, how it's organized, how they execute things. It was absolutely fascinating, and I'm in the process of writing up some best practices that I picked up on those trips. I also participate in the AMC, that's the Association of Municipal Councils. And this brings together council members from around the cities of Salt Lake County. And there's a number of best practices that we share. And again, those will be things that I bring to the council. I also participated in the June 8th URA, that stands for Utah Recycling Alliance. Their first event held here in Cottonwood Heights was for hard to recycle items. So basically items that you're not able to put into the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling bins. So that is something that I think is going to really help us all. And I'm hoping that that becomes a semi-annual event. I also, it's on the more painful side, I do have to report that it's looking like there will not be a reinstatement of bus route 953, which has historically serviced skiers who come from the north, basically anywhere in my district 4. All of our residents will have to go, if they want to ride a bus, they'll have to drive all the way to 9400 South and Highland if they want to go to Snowbird and Alta. So I understand that UT is trying to privatize some sort of shuttling arrangement, but I must say I'm disappointed that that is not advancing. On a positive note, our Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee is thriving. I'm the liaison to that department, and you'll be hearing in a moment 3 members that will be renewed into the Parks, Trails, and Open Space. I also found it really refreshing today in our work session when someone from the Utah Open Lands came and talked to us about the Transit to Trails program that's been operating in the Park City area. Interestingly, about 25% of their riders who leave their vehicles in Park City and are shuttled, so that's the transit part, up to the trails in the Bonanza Flats area, which is at the top of Guardsman Pass. So this nonprofit organization wants to start something here on the Wasatch Front that would also allow motorists to that are hikers to leave their cars outside of Big Cottonwood Canyon, and then the transit would deliver hikers up into Big Cottonwood Canyon and that top of the Guardsman Pass area. So lastly, I look forward to you reading the article that I've penned and just submitted to Beatrice Montoya that'll appear in the July newsletter. I remain really enthused about all our possibilities to continue to make our city a shining example of best sustainability practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Burrell. And real quickly, I just want to talk about a couple of things. I want to echo the council's words to Tim Tingy, our city manager. I am going to miss him. He and I have spent a lot of time together over the last 2.5 years. And so he like Sean, he's become somebody who I consider a close friend. And Tim has a passion for things that he does and to do them right. We don't always agree. And but we've been respectful, and I can't speak highly enough of what an amazing person Tim is, and we're going to miss you. So I just want to speak quickly about a committee that we have in our city, the Hillside Plaza Advisory Committee, who has been working along with a consultant to come up with plans for the Hillside Plaza and how to redevelop that property. It's been a long and kind of arduous process. They're 10 months in, working with the consultant, and there's been lots of ups and lots of downs as well. Everybody has strong opinions, but I asked the committee the last week to come in and meet for three days, 2 hours a day. So for a total of 6 hours. And for those 6 hours, these amazing people, real estate agents, there's a former mayor, there's homemakers, there's the list goes on. people that represent who our city is and have a vested interest in wanting it to be the best it can be, then came together for 6 hours and really worked hard and came up with a couple of concepts after those 2 days or 3 days rather, that the consultant is now working on that we can hopefully show the public within a week or so. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for that group and for all the time that they've spent in helping us to try to develop a concept at the Hillside Plaza for our public purpose. Item number 4 on our agenda this evening is a citizen comment period. This is a time for citizens to address the council with whatever matters they desire. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Please review the public comment procedure on the last page of tonight's agenda. If you haven't already, please fill out a speaker comment card and hand it to a staff member. When making comments, we request that you speak into the microphone and state your name so that your name can be recorded. Please avoid insulting language or comments, and the audience should also avoid expressions of support or disagreement. Council's here to listen, but you also shouldn't expect to engage in a back and forth this evening. And if you do have questions, staff will respond shortly. The first person I have to come up and speak to us is Brian Prince. Hi, Brian.
Evening, council. Brian Prince, I live at 2921 East Denmark Drive. Came here tonight to express my frustration and concern with the stormwater improvement project on Creek Road. I'm appreciative of the investment that's being made in that road, but the traffic has been rerouted, as you likely know, onto Danish Oaks in Denmark off of Creek Road. And that's a collector road, minor collector. I'm not sure the category of Creek Road, that section of Creek Road, but it's a lot of traffic. And during summer months with, well over a dozen kids on those local roads, you've rerouted traffic through the neighborhood that probably exceeds 1,000 cars a day. So my question, I guess, for staff is there a sense of when, from what I understand, the project's going to take a while. My question for staff is there a sense of when they're going to open Creek Road back up to get the traffic out of the neighborhood? Because it's a lot. During peak hours, it is constant traffic. And we've had, the police department's done a great job of responding and trying to keep people under control, and they probably handed out 20 tickets, but it's excessive. And it's just, it's a local road that wasn't designed and built for this type of traffic. And there's a lot of kids during summer months that are out of school, and it's just a problem. So if that I can talk to somebody offline, if there's an answer, I would just like to know when it'll be opened. I'm hoping it's soon. And if not, I'm hoping that there's the resources to maybe work with the contractor to open that road back up. It doesn't look like there's much money being spent on traffic control. So I'm hoping that that's been put in the budget to get the cars back on Creek Road as soon as possible to get cars out of the local right away. So.
Thank you, Brian. We got your contact information, and I'm going to have staff reach out to you. Okay.
Who within staff would be?
We'll make that decision. Probably.
It'll be Matt Shipp,
Matt Shipp,
our Public
yeah.
Works Director.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next comment card is for Runar Bowman.
Hello, Mayor Wickers
Hi.
and City Council. I think it was on the June 4th work session. I heard a discussion about the ongoing progress on the Hillside Plaza project. And I heard a discussion about retaining ownership of that property through what I think was described as a land lease program. And that the idea was, in that instance, to earn a return on that property to offset the bond payments that we are currently incurring. I think that's a really good idea. I think and that makes a lot of sense. I think it's like a viable strategy. But as you know, that means that the challenge of making that property viable in terms of return becomes pretty significant. And so I think that remember hearing the mayor mentioned the word ROI, which I thought was kind of interesting because city officials usually don't talk about investment parameters like that. There's also internal rate of return, which is another means of calculating the potential for a future investment. I heard the mayor mentioning just now about the volunteers looking into various options. And I would hope that maybe they're looking at it from that standpoint a little bit, maybe from a financial standpoint, a mathematics standpoint of what can be viable and what not can be viable. Because if we're going to own this property, we got to earn a return on it. So I hope that can be part of the conversation with those groups, because if we're all just doing it on emotion, we're going to make a bad decision. And I got to thinking about, what could this property be? How could we make some use out of it? And I thought I started thinking about the Olympics coming up and what a huge boom that is going to be for the whole Utah economy, but especially the Valley here and especially our community. And if we can capture some of those dollars, that would be a really good idea. I thought about possible, things that could do that. And one thing that came to mind was something like an extended stay Marriott, because you're going to get people staying there, coming for the Olympics. They're going to stay that whole time. And if that property is also going to have like a brew pub and eateries and what have you, they're just going to stay there the whole time. So we could capture a lot of revenue in that regard. So I think that, something like that should be seriously considered, because we've got to earn a return. If we're going to own that property, we have to make it work in that sense, because those bond payments are significant. So I think from a financial standpoint, we've got to say, what these people want us to recommend, does it make sense financially? And I hope they can they can make that a priority and give us those options. Thank you.
Thank you, Runar. The next comment card I have is for Lynn Kraus. Hi, Lynn.
Hello there. Good evening, council staff. So I came to comment tonight. I don't want anybody to get offended, but I want to comment on the political campaign endorsements I've been seeing so much of lately by our Cottonwood Heights city officials. I wasn't able to find anything explicitly prohibiting this activity, but I think the optics are bad. And I haven't really noticed this as being an issue in years past, which is kind of why I decided to bring it up tonight. These endorsements introduce a level of partisan politics into the city when Cottonwood Heights is supposed to be local, nonpartisan politics. I know that's wishful thinking, but I'm going to state it anyway. I would also like to read some statements from others that I think are very salient to this point. Like it or not, the public expects you, elected officials, to behave according to higher standards than the next person on the street. This statement suggests that there are times when those in elected offices should probably limit their individual freedoms to better serve the greater good of the community. Sitting elected officials would better serve the community by refraining from making public declarations for or against candidates, whether it be city, county, state, or national level positions. The benefits, whatever they are small compared to the costs of undermining public confidence and trust in government. Candidate endorsements can unnecessarily polarize local politics. The benefits simply don't outweigh the costs. Every one of our council members and mayor were elected to work toward the same goal, making our city a better place to live, work, and play while representing all community members. City council members and mayor were not elected to use their position in the bully pulpit to increase their own political power. While an individual's free speech rights are incredibly important, there are times when we should limit our own freedoms to serve a greater good. So in closing, I'd like to say that these are my own views, but having said that, the reason I came is because multiple people have reached out to me saying, that they were concerned about this very issue of our local officials and their political endorsements. So that's why I came tonight to make the comment. Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Lynn. The last card I have is for Nancy Hardy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Mayor and council members. I have 2 words to say tonight. Old Mill. Everybody knows about the Old Mill and the fun history it's had. In addition, it was declared a historic site by the Daughters of Utah Pioneers in 1966 and listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1971. The more I read and learn about the Old Mill, the more important it is to save it. And it's a fascinating building. There's photos of the old mill that have been hanging in City Hall, and they've been shown on the Cottonwood Heights website because we're proud of it. It's in our city. And I learned also about Henry Grow. He was an architect, builder, civil engineer, and he designed and built a lot of things in Utah. As listed in this letter by the Henry Grow Family Association, this was sent to the Planning Commission. He's done bridges and all kinds of things historic. And he designed the Cottonwood Mill or Old Mill, and this letter from the family is trying to preserve it. But he also designed the current dome roof on the tabernacle at Temple Square. And that and the Old Mill, as far as I can find out, are the last 2 things of his that are remaining. And his last important project was the construction of the Old Mill, the Desiree Paper Mill. So it brings me to some questions. Does Cottonwood Heights have an obligation and a responsibility to preserve the old mill since it's in the city limits now? And it sounds like possibly the staff might be working with developers on conceptual plans and using the PDD, as was mentioned, I think, in the planning meeting recently. But what has the staff done so far to save the old mill? I think that's most important. So I've been thinking about that. City staff should reach out and make phone calls to preserve the old mill on behalf of the residents, which is what most residents seem to want, even people outside of Cottonwood Heights. And so what about reaching out to local people and businesses who have an interest and a lot of funds in restoring it and putting something fabulous inside, like an event center upstairs that could be rented out for weddings, private events, music venue, with a restaurant downstairs open to the public that could do catering. So I thought of some people that I thought could be good for that, but I don't know them personally. But the Eccles Foundation, they've done great things for Utah. And maybe if somebody reached out to them, they might really take that as a good opportunity, have their name on it. The Smith Entertainment Group that just bought the Jazz and the hockey team. Post Malone, he lives in Cottonwood Heights. What about a brewery? There's a lot of local breweries that could do something fun there. Wasatch Squatters, Red Rock, there's High West Distillery in Park City and have a restaurant. And I think Cottonwood Heights would make a lot of money from any of those places, from the locals living in and out, the tourists and during ski season. So anyway, and I've brought up saving the old mill a lot in the past when Mayor Peterson was mayor. So don't tear down history, build a fun future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, Tim, we need to introduce to the record?
I don't believe there were any other comments, so.
you.
Mayor, could I just say something quickly?
Yes.
I'd be remiss if I didn't take just a minute here to thank Tim Tingy. It's been an honor and pleasure for me to work so closely with Tim for the past 6 years. Usually, other than my wife, he's the first person I talk with in the morning, and often the last person I talk with at night. And we talk many times in between. Tim has been an incredibly talented and committed public servant who's focused all of his considerable talents and energies on bettering this community for the last 6 years. I've been a city attorney for 25 years, and I will be the first one to say that I've learned valuable lessons and skills from Tim that I hadn't encountered before. So Tim, I wish you well, my friend. I wish you weren't leaving. Let's stay in touch.
Thank you, Shane. And I apologize for not giving you the opportunity. I look over at you and you just look at me like I'm the one that you're protecting me from saying something wrong. But so I should have given you the opportunity. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we're going to close our citizen comment period and move to item 5.0 on our agenda this evening, which is a public hearing on a proposed budget amendment for our current 2023-2024 fiscal year. We're going to have our Administrative and Fiscal Services Director, Scott Jurgis, come up and give us a brief background on this issue.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. And you can see we talked about this last council meeting. And basically, all these adjustments relate to overtime for the police department and reimbursements for overtime that they've incurred, except for one item, and that's the $164 that is a restitution reimbursement. Oftentimes, the restitution reimbursement is for property damage, oftentimes to a police car that the police have to get repaired, and so this helps to offset that cost. But the rest of the $25,736 less the $164 is for overtime costs that the police have incurred and that we're being reimbursed for. So that's what this budget is for. It's the last budget we'll do for the current fiscal year that we're in. Any questions?
Questions from the council? Nope. Thank you, Scott. So at this point, I will open the public hearing on the proposed budget amendment for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Any public comments? Not seeing anyone, I will close the public hearing on this item. And we will move to item 6 on our agenda, which are some action items that the council has legislatively this evening. Beginning with 6.1, consideration of ordinance 417, adopting an amended budget for July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Any other questions or comments from the council on the proposed budget amendment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 6.1, consideration of ordinance 417.
I motion that we approve ordinance 417.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Item 6.2, consideration of ordinance 418, approving a final budget for July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. The council had the opportunity to discuss this item previously today. Is there any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none and giving our staff a thank you for all of the hard work they do on this budget, I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance 418, approving a final budget for July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
I'll move that we approve ordinance 418 to approve the final budget.
And I will second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell, Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 6.3, consideration of resolution 2024-40, adopting a privacy space compliance plan. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-40, adopting a privacy space compliance plan.
I'll motion that we approve resolution 2024-40.
I'll second.
Final questions, comments? Call for
I would have a comment. I'm going to read this. I basically, on a level representing some of my constituents, I think that we need to be aware that transgendered people are 4 times more likely than normal gender people to experience violence. Studies show that half of them will be sexually abused at some point in their lives. If we really want to protect women, we should focus on our lewdness and loitering laws, not laws that police people's genitals. The Utah Auditor's Office has said they will not be investigating these inquiries.
Thank you. I'll now call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 6.4, consideration of resolution 2024-41, approving an agreement with LRB Public Finance Advisors for arbitrage analysis and compliance reporting. We also discussed this item earlier in our work session. Any other final questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-41, approving an agreement with LRB Public Finance Advisors for arbitrage analysis and compliance reporting.
I move the motion to accept resolution 2024-41.
And I will second that.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell.
Yes.
I will vote yes. Item 6.5 is consideration of resolution 2024-42, approving an amendment to a consulting agreement with Civil Science, Inc. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item in our work session earlier. Any other final questions or comments from the council?
I just want to make a quick comment that when you see this on the agenda, at least I did initially, oh my gosh, $74,000. I just had to ask some questions about this, read the contract or read the amendment, and have come to understand that this is already a budgeted item. And I really appreciate that the city is investing in continuous sidewalks, especially on this particular street that seems to be one that's widely used. So just wanted everyone to know in the room that this is already budgeted.
Thank you. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-42, approving an amendment to a consulting agreement with Civil Science, Inc.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-42. Wait, 2024-42.
I'll second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
and I will vote. Item 6.6, consideration of resolution 2024-43, consenting to reappointments to the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Advisory Committee. I'm going to have our city manager, Tim Tingy, briefly discuss this item.
Yes, so these are 3 individuals, Zachary Geiger, Jennifer Shaw, and Chelsea Voss, that have been serving on the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee for a number of years. They've done excellent work and been involved in I'm recommending them to be reappointed for another term, and I appreciate their service.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I would like to comment and then make a motion. And I want to thank these three individuals for their 3 years of service already on the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee. And also urge other members of the community to please make application and get involved because we want not only those voices that, come with years of experience, but also to continue to infuse this as well as all of our citizen committees with new and diverse voices. And having said that, I would like to motion that we vote on the consideration of resolution 2024-43, consenting to reappointments to the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Advisory Committee.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
I will vote yes. And thank these individuals for their service and willingness to serve again. Next is item 6.7, consideration of resolution 2044-44, appointing an interim city manager, unless you want to change your mind, Tim. No answer. We also had the opportunity, no offense wherever Scott is. So we had the opportunity to discuss this earlier in our work session. And Tim, do you want to talk about this, about who we're recommending? Yep.
Yes, Scott Jurgis is the individual that I'm recommending be the interim city manager. He has kind of a broad spectrum of the whole city with his role as finance and administrative services director. I think he'll be able to step in and do good work and work with our great department heads in this transition timeframe. So recommending approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-44, appointing an interim city manager.
I'll make that resolution to accept 2024-44.
I'll second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? And then I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
Vote yes. Scott. Okay, the last item of business for this evening, action item rather, is consideration of resolution 2024-45, approving a consultant agreement with Tim Tingy. We also had the opportunity to discuss this earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-45, approving a consultant agreement with Tim Tingy.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-45.
I'll second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, I guess we should let you say something, even though we're still mad.
I've said this, made this joke a lot, but I just need 45 minutes. So if that's okay, it's the last time I'm going to say that. I just want to express my appreciation for a lot of different people. You know, the residents of this community are amazing. They're passionate. They care about the community, and it's really been an honor to serve and to be part of this community. I think if there's one thing maybe that some people will say about me someday as city manager is basically that I tried hard. And that's what I did kind of every day. I felt like I tried hard And the hardest part is not working with the people that are here. Our staff are knowledgeable, they're dedicated, they're diligent. They do so much to improve the quality of life of our community here. And I'm so grateful for the staff and their efforts, and I'm going to miss them. I'm also so grateful for our department heads, Matt Shipp, Mike Johnson, Chief Robbie Russo, Scott Jurgis, Paula Melgore, and then Riley Pilgrim and Shane Topham. It's been a privilege and honor to work with them. They are the best of the best, and I'm so grateful for them. And it's been an honor to work with all of you. I admire your dedication, your diligence, your passion for the community, every one of you. I'm just thankful for this time that I've been able to serve as city manager, and I wish all of you the very best in what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, the last item on our agenda for this evening is just approval from the council of the consent calendar, which are the minutes from city council work sessions, CRA business meeting and city council business meeting on May 21st and June 4th. I get a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I think we need to not adjourn.
Oh,
That's
right.
We need
Oh,
to
we
move
need
to
to
a
do
closed
something
meeting.
different.
Thank you. So
I
I
take
will
that back.
entertain a motion to adjourn our business meeting and re-enter into.
You got it,
closed
Suzanne. Go for it.
session.
I'm going to look over at Shane to make sure I do this right. I motion that we adjourn the business meeting and move to a closed meeting, move back to the work session, and move into a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing character, professional competence, and our physical and mental health of individuals, one or more individuals.
Matt, please repeat. Or second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.